Three in the Key is live. Stay tuned to the Sports Fan Base Network. We've got some great high school boys basketball playoff action coming right at you. Stay tuned. Good evening, high school basketball fans, and welcome to Three in the Key, presented by SFBN, your one-stop shop for all things high school boys basketball in Pennsylvania. I'm Richie Blyweiss, and I am joined this evening by my wonderful co-hosts. We've got Josh Abrams and Ari Bluestein. Thank you guys so much for being here. It is just so bizarre to me, as I feel like I haven't seen you in forever. It's like when you're away from family for a while. It's like, oh my God, it's like what did I do now? You know, it's been a couple of weeks since I've seen you guys. I was off, taking care of some family stuff. So thank you so much to both of you guys for being here, for filling in for me on two different occasions. To Cap, we miss you, Cap. We know you're not here with us tonight, but Cap, even though he is not physically in the studio, he certainly has sent his comments along, and we're going to talk about him a lot tonight.
He certainly will, and I feel like I'm playing musical chairs right now.
Yeah,
I got to get in your chair next.
Yeah, next we're gonna have Josh miss a show, and just so Ari can see what life looks like from this perspective over here. But guys, there is just so much to talk about tonight, and I know that our fans at home are going to be wanting to chime in on this because the playoffs really have begun in several parts of Pennsylvania. We're getting brackets released right up to the minute, even just as we were about to come on live. We're looking online and realizing, oh my gosh, districts are releasing brackets. There's just so much happening that we're staying as up to date as possible for this live show. Speaking of a live show, make sure that as you're tuning in live with us, you are putting in your comments. Put in your comments, your questions, anything that you are curious about as far as the playoffs are concerned or what you're thinking about. Even if you're not watching live, if you're watching this on delay, make sure that you get to us through those comments. We love getting back to questions and comments throughout the entire week. So please keep chiming in. Tonight's show, guys, I want to get right into this. I don't want to waste any time. Tonight's show is going to be a little different than we've seen. In our past episodes, we've talked about specific games. We've looked at specific players or coaches. But tonight is more going to be almost like a March Madness theme of, this idea of bracketology, but that's more NCAA college basketball. High school, we like to refer to it, and Ari, you said this before, the February frenzy.
Yes. I'm trademarking that term, by the way.
Perfect. He's done it. He's got it. The shirts are being ordered, the hats, everything right now. Schools are going to base spring breaks right around it. So tonight, we're going to do our very own version of this, bracketology, so to speak. And we're going to look at a couple of different things here. Next week, the weeks thereafter, we are really going to check and see how accurate our predictions are. Your predictions. I'm not taking any chances on this. I'm going to let you guys, as the experts, and Cap, I'm going to let you guys really go in. When we start looking at, PESA, when we start looking at PIAA. First for us, though, I want to go District 1. We want to talk 5A and 6A. There is just so much that happens here. But 5A and 6A, I think we can all agree, these are really the big boys. Yeah. These are the big boys here. So let's first off, and I've got a million papers, it seems, in front of me. Josh, you got your computer. He makes it so easy. Ari and I just have a million papers.
We're old school, right?
Right. Cap comes in. He's got a binder this high.
He's really old school.
He really is. He really is. There's a snail delivering his latest telegram to him. So, but really, it really is amazing to me. But, guys, let's start off. Let's talk 6A. Let's go District 1, 6A. Now, the way that this bracket is going to work, the first round is going to be seeds 9 through 24. Okay, so seeds 9 through 24 in this case. And then you've got, in the next round, there are essentially 8 teams, the top 8, that I don't know if you want to call it a bye round necessarily, but it really is a round in which they don't have to do this, first round. They get right into the second. So you don't want to call it a play-in. Is it a play-in for the first round, guys, or is it a bye for the top 8?
It's basically a first round with a bye for the top 8. That's your reward for finishing in the top 8. You get that first round bye. But look, there's a lot of great teams in District 1. I mean, you guys have talked about it. We always talk about it. 24 teams you say, oh, wow, that's a lot of teams for high school basketball in one classification. It's really not. There's a lot of good teams that are left out of this bracket, and I know Josh is probably excited to talk about probably the best matchup of this round, Ben Salem versus Pennsbury, Josh's alma mater. So I'll let Josh start off with that, which is probably your best matchup. It's the 16 versus 17.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the matchup. These two teams met each other twice earlier this season. Pennsbury actually lost in Ben Salem by just two, and then they came back at the Falcons' Nest and beat Ben Salem by 10. So not too much of a big win for Pennsbury. But Pennsbury has shown this season that they can play. They can hang in there against anybody. They've only lost by a couple against bigger schools, but I picked Pennsbury to win this game simply because even though they are going on the road, I think they have the grit.
Now, I do want to talk about this because you guys mentioned the 16-17 matchup here, Ben Salem, Pennsbury, and that's going to be happening on Friday the 16th.
Right.
But coming up on the 20th, Tuesday coming up, whoever wins that game will be taking on Plymouth Whitemarsh.
Yeah.
PW is a team that I feel like every single week they are consistently a part of 3 in the key. Naheem McLeod, Ish Horn, Ahmad Williams, Amin Williams. I mean, that is a scary 4 right there.
Yeah.
And I mean, Ben Salem and Pennsbury, at 16-17 taking on the 1, do either of them really have a chance going against PW? And I don't know if anybody has a chance going against PW in this bracket.
No, it's very hard to beat PW. They have beaten the likes of some of the best Catholic League teams in the league, and they've extended their game out to even New Jersey. And they just know how to win. It's just, to put it plain and simple, Jim Donofrio knows what he's doing, and he's put together a solid squad that has their emerging star in Naheem McLeod. He's their 7'2", 7'3" center that really completes the puzzle. And Pennsbury's only main player, Pennsbury's only player that starts that can even somewhat match McLeod's size is Chad Weldon. But even then, McLeod's still got 7 inches on him. And these William twins are just so athletic. They can get to the basket, they can shoot. And Ish Horn, as a senior veteran point guard, has provided a spark, especially off the bench.
Yeah, and it's funny, I feel like every show, Naheem McLeod gets taller, 7'1", 7'2", 7'3". He's going to be 7'7" by the end of the season.
That's it. He is going into college as the first 8-foot-tall basketball player.
There you go. He'll surpass Manu Paul.
Absolutely.
But, look, we'll see my picks later as we get later in here. But, yeah, PW is going to be tough to beat. I think whoever wins that first-round game, it's going to be tough. But, hey, that's going to be fun because that's a big rivalry between Ben Salem and Pennsbury, as Josh mentioned, some great matchups. And, looking down the list, there's a lot of other really good matchups. I've gone with the top seed most of the time. I like CB East to beat O&J Roberts. I think CB East is more battle-tested in the Suburban 1 as opposed to OJR in the Pac-10. And I like Neshaminy to beat CB South with Chris Archidiacono. I like that as a little mini upset.
And I think something we're going to have to look forward to with this is the SOL. They've got 3 of the top 4 teams. You have PW, Abington, and CB West. Yep. So I really do think that will make it a very big deal.
Yeah, and the SOL is a great league. Yeah.
SOL is great. Let's go on, though. I do want to talk 5A for a moment here. Let's go District 1, 5A right now. You've got a couple of great teams in here. Pencrest, Bishop Shanahan, Chester. Let's talk Pencrest first, though, guys.
Yeah.
Pencrest is the number 1 seeded team. They're going to take on Upper Moreland. That's going to happen on Wednesday the 21st. So we're a little more than a week away from that. But they really are just a great team. You've got guys Tyler Norwood, Matt Arbogast. You've got Malcolm Williams, Justin Heidig, you got Chris Mills. I mean, this is a great team, guys. Do you see anybody really matching up with Pencrest? It's certainly not going to be Upper Moreland, but do you see anybody really matching up with them in this tournament?
I think you're going to have to wait till they get to the championship game. I think you look at the top half of this bracket. Holy Ghost and Chichester are good. Probably can't match up with Pencrest. Great Valley, a good team, too, out of the Chestnut. Wissahickons had a nice year out of the SOL. But I think ultimately Pencrest is going to get to the championship game, and whoever wins that monster matchup between the 2 and 3 seed, Bishop Shanahan and Chester, is going to give them a challenge. I actually have Chester winning the whole thing. I like the way that they've played this year. They're a tough team, but it's not going to be easy. I've got Chester over Pencrest in a little mini upset there.
What'd you have there?
I have Pencrest taking obviously we don't do score predictions, but I think it's going to be a close game. No blowout in that championship game. I just think Pencrest just plays in the better league. They only lost 2 games all season, and they were both league games. Pencrest plays in the Central League, which is full of teams like Lower Merion, Conestoga,
Right.
Garnet Valley, Upper Darby. I think the toughness of the teams that they've played this year is just a little bit too much.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a great Final Four at Temple.
I think that whole bracket could look
I
really
think you're
great
going to see maybe some blowouts in the first, maybe the second round of the 5A bracket. But that Final Four, I've got my Final Four as Pencrest, Wissahickon, Chester, Shanahan. Probably any of those top three, and Wissahickon again battle tested this year.
I was just looking at Wissahickon here at the 4th seed. I mean, they really don't have a difficult match. They've got to go against Great Valley, I suppose. But
that's a tough game.
That will be a tough game for them.
Game.
4-5 could go either way. All right, guys. So we talked 6A, we talked 5A. We're in the District 1. Let's look at 4A right now, where we have this combo bracket. You've got like a combo bracket going here of District 1 and District 11 teams. Josh, Ari, who do you guys like? Is there a team to look out for here? You've got 2 teams from District 1, Lower Moreland and Octorara. You've got the rest of the teams from District 11.
Yeah, I think, you look at this bracket, it's hard not to say that Bethlehem Catholic is the favorite by far. Lower Moreland has put together a nice season. I've got Bethlehem Catholic beating Lower Moreland in that championship game. I'm not super familiar with a lot of the other District 11 teams like Wilson, North Schuylkill, Northwestern Lehigh, Tamaqua, and Jim Thorpe. I haven't really seen them, but I know how good Bethlehem Catholic is. I think they've got a shot to make some noise in the PIAA bracket. So I don't know who you had, Josh, but I've got Bethlehem Catholic winning it. Lower Moreland will give them a game, I think, but I think ultimately the Golden Hawks will win this one.
Yeah, I have Bethlehem Catholic winning this game too, simply because the whole thing with their league being so tough, they've had to play against teams like Allentown Central Catholic, and they've been able to win those games. And I just don't see anyone really beating Bethlehem Catholic. No, Lower Moreland could definitely make some noise there.
That would be an interesting District 1, District 11 matchup.
Yes,
there,
absolutely.
Too, between Lower Moreland and Bethlehem
I think
Catholic.
that's what we're heading for in this bracket. Yeah, I think that's what. Is that what you have too? You have
I have
Moreland?
Bethlehem Catholic, Lower Moreland,
Yeah.
and nothing really too eye-opening there in terms of
I basically got chalk in this bracket. I think it's going to play out like the seeds. I like to pick some upsets, but in this one, I feel like the top seeds are going to win.
8 teams you don't need to really worry about.
Yeah.
No, that was a pretty fairly seeded bracket here. All right, wow. So much happening and just doing it so quickly. District 1 plus, they really should be great. 5A, 6A. We want to touch on a couple of other districts as well. Let's start with the Mid-Penn Conference in District 3. So here's a look, small 4-team playoff bracket. Really not a lot going on here. You've got 4 teams in Mid-Penn Conference. You've got Greencastle out of Colonial, State College out of Commonwealth, Milton Hershey out of Capital, and then Hershey High out of the Keystone. Is Milton Hershey really the favorite here, guys?
I think State College is the favorite.
Okay.
I think I've got in this little bracket, and we're going to get to District 3 in a moment. Their brackets literally just came out. But this is kind of like the Suburban 1 League, where this is kind of like a bragging rights tournament, and it doesn't have any effect on the District 3 ranking. So it's just fun. State College, who's actually from District 6, that plays in Mid-Penn, I think they're the strongest team. I think that they will. I got them beating Milton Hershey. I have them beating Milton Hershey in the championship, but that's a great rivalry. The private school, Milton Hershey, going against the public school, Hershey High. I'm sure those kids grew up with each other. We've talked about some of their players, but I like State College to win this one. What do you have, John?
Yeah, I picked Milton Hershey just to go against you, Ari.
Yes!
I love it. I love that.
He's the boss.
Yeah, he is the boss. It's like one of the only times that I can go against him.
That's
Wow.
good. I like that.
Oh, wait, just got word coming in. Yeah, Josh's paycheck has been delayed. Yeah, Josh's paycheck delayed for a while until he agrees with Ari.
Okay. I'm doing that now. Delay. Okay.
Yeah,
good.
delay that one. Wow. Bank trouble. Guys, breaking news though. District 3 brackets. They are just released tonight. Now, guys, they are just released tonight. What are we thinking here on these District 3 brackets? We've got so much. We're going to talk power rankings here.
Yeah.
Let's talk power rankings here. Let's go 6A. I really just want to look at top 3. Is that okay with you guys?
Sure.
In terms
Yeah,
of
we
power
can
rank?
take a look at that,
Let's just go top 3. Let's go from 3 up in 6A. I've got Chambersburg here, 17-4 overall. We've got Hempfield at 20-2 overall, and then Reading at 19-2. Reading's in that one spot.
Again,
But, points scored, strength of schedule, that kind of stuff. Thinking about that. What are we thinking in 6A?
I don't see, at least in the top half of this bracket, how Reading can go down. I mean, yes, there's only, looks like there's 10, 12.
Yeah, we've got 12
we're looking
teams.
in studio right now on our monitors.
Yeah, we've got the bracket up in the studio, and we've got the rankings in front of us.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think this is definitely Reading's bracket to lose. Yes, no Lonnie Walker this year. Obviously, it's a different Reading team, but they're still the most talented. Hempfield, I know, has had a great year, and there's some other teams, and you even go down to the 5 line with Manhattan Township. You can throw them in there.
We have talked about this.
Yeah,
season.
we've talked about them, and Harrisburg as well. They're the 6th seed, so there's some good teams here, but I think Reading's the favorite, and if I had to pick one, I would pick Reading to win this one. And I really just don't see how they lose the bracket.
I think it's going to be interesting leading up to the championship game, especially when you look at the bottom half of that bracket. We could see upsets in terms of Harrisburg. If they beat Cedar Cliff, they could upset Chambersburg. We could see Hempfield even go down. Anything can happen, obviously, when you get to this point. I just don't see Reading going down to any of these teams.
Yeah, well, we got a comment here coming in from Jack, from Jack Cap right now. Says he loves the Milton Hershey matchup. So something to touch on from before.
That came in from Chip.
From
Jack Cap
before.
said he made his pick that Chester's going to win 5A.
Oh.
So Jack Cap has said he agrees with me. I think we gotta have a love for Chester, but Pencrest I think certainly has a shot. But yeah, Chip came in and said he loves that Hershey matchup. But I mean, all those kids know each other. Private school, public school. I mean, that's going to be a war.
Let's go to 5A, guys. Let's talk top 3 here in 5A. You've got Northeastern and then Greencastle Landsman number 2. They're both at 20-2, and then even at number 1 spot, Lampeter Strasburg also at 20-2, and that's your top 3 right there, guys.
Yeah,
and District 3, 5A.
And you look at those teams, Greencastle at 2, then you go down to 5 and 6. You've got Milton Hershey and Hershey High. They're obviously playing in that mid-pen bracket that we talked about, so they've got some business to do before they get into District 3. So you have all those teams in 5A. I think this is more wide open than 6A. I think 6A, it's clear that Reading's the favorite, but I think when you look at this bracket, you can look at the top 6 teams, which is Lampeter, Strasburg, Greencastle, Northeastern, all 20-2, Dover, Milton Hershey, Hershey High. I think this is wide open, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say that one of the Hershey schools is going to pull off an upset and win this 5A bracket.
You're looking at a 5 or a 6 upset there.
I think we're going to have some February frenzy in this bracket.
There you go.
With how open this bracket is, you have to wonder in that when we get to the Final Four, which teams are still going to be standing. Especially as you said, Ari, that those especially the bottom half of that top 6.
Yeah,
that's where it gets really interesting.
And I could see the 1 seed Lampeter Strasburg going down in the Final Four to either that 4-5 matchup, Dover or Milton Hershey. I think they can definitely go down. And Northeastern at 20-2, they're going to have a tough matchup with Hershey High if it does go to that point with the quarterfinals.
What makes it even more interesting is that both semifinals are played at the Giants Center at a neutral location.
Right.
Oh yeah.
But of course, you're right around the corner from Hershey.
Right,
the Giants
exactly.
Center, so gives those Hershey schools a little bit of maybe a home court advantage.
A home court advantage that they really might not need. I mean, if we're just being honest here, at 5-6, they might not need it, truthfully, but I'm sure it can't hurt.
No.
Let's go to 4A here, guys. Let's talk top 3. Middletown at 15-6. Berks Catholic at 18-2, and Lancaster Catholic at 20-2. What do we like here?
I think this is a top-heavy bracket here. Lancaster Catholic has had a really nice year, as has Berks Catholic. We've talked about Middletown on the show. I know Jack Cap is a big fan of the Middletown Blue Raiders, and they're a solid team. I don't know if they beat Berks Catholic. They've had a really strong year. They always have a strong program. If I had to pick a team to come out of here, I'm going with the 2 seed Berks Catholic to win this thing.
Obviously, as we keep on saying, it's anything can happen. Obviously, we haven't gotten the chance to really go out and see these kinds of teams. And since these brackets came out today, we didn't make picks on them. But that Lancaster Catholic, Berks Catholic matchup is definitely possible for that championship.
Yeah, I think that's what you're looking at. I think this is top heavy, but I'm going with a little mini upset with the 2 seed, but winning that. Right. But that's going to be a great game. That's a really nice bracket at the top.
Let's go 3A, guys. 3A from District 3. Top 3 here is a smaller district here with 3A, but your smaller class, excuse me. Trinity is at number 3, 14-5 record. Steel High, 15-7, and then Kutztown really pulling ahead of everybody at 19-2.
Yeah, Kutztown's had a really nice year, but I think Steel High is a team that we've talked about on the show.
So much.
I would definitely give them a chance despite that 15-7 record. I think that they have the toughness to be in this game. I guess I'm going to have to go with Kutztown. I think they're just so head and shoulders above this crowd. But Steel High, I think they got a good shot. But I think that
Steel High could pull an upset.
They could, and also Kutztown does not have an easy semifinal matchup with that either the 4 or 5 Lancaster Mennonite York Catholic. We've talked about York Catholic on the show as well. Lancaster Mennonite a nice year at 16-6. No guarantee Kutztown gets out of that, but. If I had to make a pick, which we are right now, I'm going to say Kutztown.
Yeah, I think just like the 4A bracket, and I don't know if it's just simply because of the amount of teams that make these brackets for each classification, but each team is playing at a neutral location, and Steel High is going to get the winner of the Trinity Camp Hill game, and if we see Camp Hill upset Trinity. Anything can happen, especially when you play at a neutral location. There's no real distinct home court advantage.
Right.
But I think we are still looking at a Kutztown Steel High championship with Kutztown winning it.
Yeah, I think so. I agree with that.
That's fair. Wait, what? Agreement? On this show?
Where's my check? Where's my check?
Where's Josh's check now? Ari is losing money filling in
Josh
the cap.
back on payroll now.
Yeah, Ari is losing money in this episode here. Let's go to 2A, District 3, 2A. This is the smallest of all the classes here. You've only got 6 teams. The top 3, let's look at. Newport at a 500 record, 11-11. Millersburg at 12-10. Halifax pulls away. I don't see any way that these guys get topped in their 2A, 20-2.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised at Fairfield's record this year. I thought they would be better. They finished 8-14 and did not make the playoffs. But Halifax has just been so strong at 20-2. I'm not super familiar with Millersburg, Newport, or Antietam, but I know Halifax is up there. I think they've been mentioned on City of Basketball Love as a top 10 team in the 2A classification. Yeah. So I like them. I think they win this one easily.
Yeah, and I know we get to this point, and as a coach and as a player, you say nothing in the regular season really matters anymore. It's all about what's up next, one game at a time. This is the best time to go 1-0 per week or however many games you're playing in that week. But Halifax, they've only lost 2 games all season.
Right.
I don't see how they can be upset by it.
No, I don't see that coming out. Class 1A in District 3. Let's look at the top 3. You got 21 total teams in this class, so this is actually a very big class. Let's look at top 3, though. You've got West Shore Christian Academy. They're at 17-5. Lancaster Country Day School at 16-6. And then in the lead is Berks Christian. They're at 19-3, guys.
The 1A bracket, really, in any sport is always the toughest to read because obviously it's a smaller school and they don't have a ton of talented players usually. So this is ripe for some upsets, I think. I think, obviously, Berks Christian is the favorite here, but York Country Day School is a team that hasn't played a ton of games this year. They've only played 15 games, but they've played a tough schedule, and even you go down a little bit to High Point and Greenwood. This is surprising, too. The 7 seed is 13-8, Conestoga Christian School. This is a tough one to pick because I don't really follow the smaller schools as much, especially outside of the public league where you have some of the stronger, smaller schools. But I just know that this is going to be a tough one to pick, and I'm going to go with the 4 seed, York Country Day School.
Oh, wow, you're going out. Okay.
I'm going with the super upset in this one.
Okay. Josh, super upset for you?
Again, I'm in the same boat as you, Ari, with not knowing these schools as well. But I'll go with the number 3 seed, West Shore Christian, 17-5 record. They will play Greenwood at home at West Shore Christian.
And that's a good game. That's a tough game.
Once again, both of you guys have it all wrong. It's going to come from New Covenant Christian School. They're 0-21. They're just waiting for the playoffs to really let loose.
It would help if they were in the bracket first, Richie, but okay.
All right, well, never mind then. I cancel out my pick. I cancel it out. You know what? It's going to be like pro wrestling where they just come in. They're not even in the match, and they just come in and take over.
Last-minute addition.
Interference.
Last-minute addition to the Royal Rumble.
That's it. A foreign object, last-second addition. No one knew. Well, things that we do know. Here's what's coming up right here on 3 in the Key. We're going to talk District 7. We've got to talk Public League, Catholic League. We have covered so much, but there is still so much more. Even the whippy out coming up with District 7. Guys, stay tuned to 3 in the Key right here on the Sports Fan Base Network.
Hi, I'm Tommy Green, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. When I was in high school, it was very important to me to show scouts what I could do. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you're a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY.
We're talking goaltending here, and we're talking about high school rules as opposed to NCAA or NBA, which are slightly different. The referee is looking for 4 criteria. Number 1, is the ball on its way down? Number 2, is the ball fully above the rim? Number 3, was it an attempted shot? And number 4, did that shot have a chance to go in the opinion of the referee? If all 4 of those criteria are met, a goaltending call is made and the basket is good. Slapping the backboard is never goaltending. It's always a technical foul.
Well, welcome back to 3 in the Key. And hey, thanks so much to Cap on that commercial. Can't be with us live in studio, but man, he looks good in that referee jersey on our commercial. So we're glad Cap gets a little bit of airtime. Thank you so much for staying with us. Before we get into our District 7, our look at the Whippeal, let's talk again, 6A, 5A, because I want to make this very clear. I want to get your picks right now. Ari, I'm going to start with you. I want to get your full picks, 6A and 5A. You want to start with 6A?
Yeah, okay. I'll start with 6A. I mentioned about the early rounds. I have Pennsbury, Garnet Valley, CB East in a little upset. Downingtown East, I've got Neshaminy, little mini upset. Methacton, Cheltenham, another little upset, and then Springford. Going forward, I've really got most of the higher seeds winning here. I've got PW beating Pennsbury. I've got a little upset there, Garnet Valley. I've got CB West beating CB East, Coatesville. Abington is so good. Little upset here, Methacton, Norristown. That's a nice little rivalry there. Lower Merion, and then Springford with a little upset. But when you look again going forward, I think I got my final 4 going to Temple. PW, Coatesville, Abington, Lower Merion, the top 4 seeds. When all it's said and done, I've got, I have the 1, 2, 3, and 5. Coatesville is the 5. So, and I've got PW beating Abington in the championship. I just don't see anybody beating PW, honestly.
No, and we talked about that earlier. We talked about the strength of PW. Josh, do you see it similarly?
For the most part, but not necessarily in terms of those higher
4.
seeds.
Okay, what do you got?
So I have Pennsbury beating Bensalem, Garnet Valley going through D-Town West. But once we get towards, I'm not going to go through the whole second round because it'll take up too much time. But I really wanted to pinpoint a possible matchup in the quarterfinals, a possible CB West and Coatesville matchup. Mm-hmm. That is probably, when you look at the quarterfinals, that's probably the most intriguing matchup considering how high.
Perfect word to use, intriguing.
CB West battle tested throughout the SOL. It didn't count, but they did beat Abington the other day. They were without Eric Dixon, which obviously is a big miss.
That's a huge loss.
Well, the person we've talked about multiple weeks on the show is Eric Dixon. Yeah.
But if that in fact happens, a CB West Coatesville matchup, it'll be at CB West, and that's the reason why I have CB West moving on. And I actually have an all SOL Final 4. I have PW and CB West in the first semifinal. And then Abington and Penn Ridge in the second semifinal. And I actually have Penn Ridge upsetting Abington. Now, at that point, I'm not sure how healthy Eric Dixon's going to be, how that hand is coming along. But Penn Ridge is a really good team, and I think they can hang with at least the 2/3 of the three-headed monster for Abington. Eric Dixon's going to get his, no doubt. But Robbie Heath and Lucas Monroe, I think, are going to be guarded by Sean Yoder and John Post. I think they're going to try and lock them up. They might do the strategy that teams do against the Neshaminy with Archidiakono, trying to key in on his teammates and just let let the star players do their thing.
You know, it's interesting because I had Springford beating Penridge in an upset in the second round.
Yeah.
Just because I like the way Springford plays, and they always kind of like somehow sneak up on teams. But that is the key. That's really the key difference in ours. I have Penridge losing in the second round. He's got Penridge going to the championship.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Penridge, don't hate
But
me.
both of you have PW winning it all.
We have
Yeah.
PW winning
Both
it
have
all.
PW
I
winning
mean,
it all.
Yes.
and PW, I have a PW Penridge championship. PW
right.
smoked Penridge.
Well, let's
so.
save some of this fuel here. I want to go on the 5A. Here.
Yeah, well,
let's go to
let's
5A.
go to 5A.
All right, I'll let you start with 5A.
Okay, 5A I've got mostly chalk, as I mentioned earlier. I've got Pencrest going all the way to the championship. I've got the 4 seed Wissahickon going to the semifinals. The 3 seed Chester going to the semis. Shanahan going to the 2 seed going to the semifinals. My difference is I've got Chester in an upset over Pencrest. In fact, Chester with 2 upsets, beating the 2 seed Shanahan and the 1 seed Pencrest. So I'm going with the Clippers to shock the world and get back to basketball prominence here at 5A.
Josh, you're up.
You know, it's basically the same thing as you, Ari, except I have an upset at the bottom half of the bracket with Marple Newtown upsetting
Sun Valley?
Sun
Okay.
Valley. I think Chester's gonna cruise their way through, maybe up until the semifinal at Temple. I think they're gonna play Westchester Ruston, and these two teams have met before earlier in the regular season.
Oh, you've
so
got Ruston beating Shanahan.
I do. I have. That's
Okay.
probably the biggest
That's a big
upset
one.
of them
Yeah.
all.
But we see it in every bracket. We see
Sure.
them. You got to put them in there. You have to.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know, if Chester and Ruston meet up again, I think that's going to be a gritty battle. But Chester, I think, will just be too much for
then-
Ruston.
And then you've got Pencrest beating Chester.
I have Pencrest beating Chester, and what's probably going to come down to the last possession of the game.
Yeah.
Wow,
A lot
guys.
of good guard play in that game.
We've got to move on here. I'm sorry.
Let's go.
I would keep this going, but we've got to move on. Let's get to the Whippy Out. Let's get to District 7. They have their They have their playoff teams announced. The pairings, though, they get announced tomorrow.
Right.
There
right.
are a couple of things we can look at, though, what we expect to see moving in here. Ari, I'll let you start off with this. You know, Whippy Owl, lot going on here.
All right,
District
so
7.
we'll go, and again, the way the Whippeal works is you have the teams broken off by section, and then now in the playoffs, you've got them broken down by classification. So I'll just go through top to bottom here, 6A. The teams that definitely stand out to me in 6A are the teams from Section 1, Pittsburgh Central Catholic and Pine Richland. I really like Pine Richland. A lot of talent. I think that they'll get through this bracket. Ken and McMillan, maybe they've got a shot, but I like Pine Richland. 5A, we've talked about Mars and Moon. You know, that's that's a Jack Cap special right there. I think they are probably two of the top teams. Trinity, I would not count out either in 5A. 4A, Quaker Valley. I love Quaker Valley.
Yeah,
We've talked
Quaker
about them.
Valley's very
I
good.
think that they are by far the best team in the 4A classification. 3A, Lincoln Park is actually pretty solid. At the Section 1, Seton LaSalle, also a pretty good team. 2A, I like Jeanette, who actually won the 2A state football championship.
just saying, Jeanette football, they
Yeah,
were a
Jeanette, the
powerhouse there in
Jayhawks.
2A.
And then Sewickley Academy in there as well. I think they definitely can make some noise out of Section 3. And then, again, Class 1A, I'm not as familiar with, but I would have to look at a lot of the teams from Section 1, like Vincentinian. And then also Amani Christian is a team that I recognize as well out of Section 3. So, I know that the 6A and 5A a little bit better, but those are really the teams that I like, and we'll see how the bracket kind of shakes out and how the matchups shake out.
Yeah, Josh, anything from you on that?
I think a couple teams you didn't mention, Ari, from Section 3 of the 6A, Woodland Hills and Penn Hills, both 19-3 records. Woodland Hills actually ended up winning the Section 3 of the Whippeal in 6A. Either way, both of those teams are teams to be reckoned with. Fox Chapel, 17-4 overall, 11-3 in that Section 3. So they ended up tying Penn Hills. But those three teams are probably the teams to look out for in that section. You mentioned Mount Lebanon and Cannon McMillan, as well as Pittsburgh Central Catholic, Pine Richland, and Butler. 5A, Trinity, obviously you said. McKeesport, they ended up winning Section 1 5A.
Okay.
They're another team to keep an eye out on. And then in Section 3, there's Franklin Regional and Highlands and Gateway. I don't think
Highland
Gateway
could be something, though.
Yeah, Highlands might be a team to look out for.
How many losses for them on the season there, Josh, for Highland?
4 overall, and the 9-1 in the Section 3. And then the 4A, Quaker Valley. I think Quaker Valley, we've talked about them a couple times here and there on the show. I think you could be looking at a Quaker Valley Imhotep state championship.
Yeah,
in
we've
4A.
talked about that. Yeah.
Wow.
And Newcastle as well.
Newcastle's in there. I missed them. Yeah.
Yeah, Newcastle used to be a perennial power back when they had the 4 classifications. Now it's up to 6, but Newcastle stayed at 4, so they're not as big of a team before, but they're definitely a team to look out for.
Wow. Well, guys, are we good on this? I want to get to a comment.
We're good. We do have a comment. Yeah, go for it.
I see a comment just come up on the board. Dan Simmerin comments, and thanks so much for tuning in with us, Dan, and staying live. But Dan wants to know, can Pencrest, we go back to 5A playoffs, can Pencrest get upset? Is there any chance that Pencrest really gets upset here? And you guys both chose Pencrest losing in the championship, I believe. Josh had Pencrest winning. You had Pencrest losing in the championship.
I think that we're in agreement that they will likely get to the championship game. I think that they'll take care of Upper Moreland. Whoever wins that 8-9, Chichester, Holy Ghost. I have Holy Ghost winning, but that could go either way. And whoever wins that Wissahick and Great Valley, I just think they will get to the championship. Once they get there, it's a question of who do they play. I know you have Ruston, right? Oh, no, you have Chester
I have
beating
Chester,
Ruston.
But Ruston upsetting
So we both
Shanahan.
have Pencrest and Chester, and I've got Chester winning. So to answer your question, Dan, I think that they lose in the championship to Chester. I just like the way the Clippers are playing, but I think there's almost no way that they get upset before the championship game.
Yeah, and the only way that they would get upset, I see them getting to the semifinals at the worst. Great Valley and Wissahickon are both very great teams, top 5 seeds, obviously. But Pencrest, as I said before, just has too tough of a regular season schedule.
Yeah, they're solid. Yeah, I think they get to the title game.
And they're legit, too. I mean, the 22 record is no joke.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, guys, Dan, we got another comment here. Bonnie Kappenstein. I wonder if there's any relation there to another Kappenstein that we know.
There is.
Is there? Okay. Chester will beat Pencrest. I am seeing fighting words now between Bonnie and Dan. Cap, please be on the lookout. Take care of Bonnie.
I love it. I love it. I love the give and take.
This is great. This is why we do live commenting during the show. This is why we got our staff looking out here. Guys, I hate to move on because I think we can just watch the Facebook feed all night. It's
I know,
really
right?
Entertaining,
It's
actually. It is going to be great. Thank you both, Dan and Bonnie, so much for tuning in and chiming in live on Facebook Live. Encouraging you at home, if you're watching right now, tune in, watch, comment. Definitely, we'll get to you. But guys, we got to move on. We want to talk District 12. There's so much happening in the Public League, the Catholic League. Let's look at both of these. They basically operate independently here, the Public and Catholic League. But when we get into the Public versus Catholic City Championship, that's going to happen in early March. That's when they will come together here. All right. Public League already has their playoffs underway. Now into the quarter-final rounds. Josh, Ari, who do you guys like here out of the pub? You got some great teams coming in. Franklin, Imhotep. We got so much going on here. Guys, go ahead.
There's so many teams in the Public League,
Yeah.
and that's why you have to start the playoffs in the beginning of February.
Well, that's why you got bracket A and bracket B.
Yeah, you got bracket A, bracket B. I mean, you probably had like 30 or so teams make the Public League playoffs. I've said it all year, and when I've been on the show, the 2 best teams in the pub, by far, in my opinion, are Imhotep and King. And I think right now they're on a crash course for the Public League Championship at the Palestra on Sunday, February 25th. In terms of my picks here, I got King beating Boys Latin, Frankfurt, and Lincoln to get to the championship. And I have Imhotep beating Parkway Northwest, Robeson, and Mastery North. Mastery North has had a nice year. Lincoln has too. The smaller school teams that we usually see do well in the pub, like Constitution and Mass Civics and Sciences, are not as strong this year. So I've got Imhotep beating King. I really don't see it going any other way.
Yeah, I think we basically have another agreement with the champions, but there's definitely little kinks beforehand that go differently. I actually have, starting from the bottom up, Constitution I think is going to meet Abraham Lincoln in the semifinal for that B bracket. But Lincoln is just too good. I think they're going to beat Constitution and lose to King in that championship game.
Right, in the bracket B.
In the bracket B.
Yep.
I also have MCS beating Penn Treaty, then Frankfurt, and then eventually losing to King.
Okay.
Going up to the A bracket, I have Robeson upsetting Bartram before eventually losing by however much they end up losing by to Imhotep. 'Cause Imhotep is honestly I looked at their schedule last night.
Pretty dominant.
Before the show. They've gone out and beaten teams like Roselle Catholic, which is one of the best teams in New Jersey.
Right, Jersey team.
Bishop Gorman, the second-ranked team in Nevada behind Findlay Prep.
Yeah.
These guys have clearly showed that they can beat anybody. They've only lost 2 games all season.
And in the second round, their first game, because they got a bye, they beat Franklin 100-48.
They put up 100 points.
Put up 100.
Guys, all eyes are going to be on the Palestra. That's going to be on February the 25th. It's a Sunday. All eyes will be on the Palestra. That's a 3 o'clock game there. Wow. But King, you guys liking King in B?
Yes.
And then we're liking Imhotep in A.
So, Josh and I are in agreement there. We have a couple little differences along the way, but it's going to come down to Imhotep and King.
Does it really matter? They are literally just, little speed bumps for these two powerhouses.
And King, Imhotep did beat King twice, but at King was up at the half on Imhotep. And then Imhotep made some adjustments and I think held King to under 10 points the entire second half.
Wow.
So depending on how Sean Colson, the coach of King, a former pro player, game plans, they can beat Imhotep if they give it a shot.
All right, guys. Well, Catholic League, they get started on Wednesday. Their first round, they don't have an exact bracket format here. And, you have to remember, PCL, they reseed after each round. You can see that in the bracket on your screen. PCL has been extremely tight this year. Lots of unexpected outcomes. I think Bonner Prendy is an unbelievably unexpected number 1. Maybe we saw them top 5, but I don't think anybody saw them top 1, guys.
Okay, shout out to the Friars. They've had a monster year. And they end up being tied with Newman Goretti for the top spot, but get the number 1 seed by virtue of defeating Newman Goretti head-to-head.
Right.
So shout out to them. I think we expected Newman Goretti and Roman to be at the top as well. Interesting with the 4-5, though, in that quarterfinal. Carroll will play Wood, but they're actually playing right now at Archbishop Carroll, and the winner gets home court advantage. And the latest update from Aaron Carter of the Philadelphia Inquirer, Carroll leads Wood 42-31 late in the third quarter. So if Carroll wins that game, they get to host Wood again. So kind of like
Ari, you've got Wood in that bracket. Josh, you both have Wood in that bracket.
Now it's going to be very interesting, and I'll let Josh comment on this too. I thought Wood would win this game tonight and get home court and win, but it's going to be very tough for them to win on the road at Carroll, which is always a very hostile atmosphere. But then again, Carroll's going to have to beat the defending PCL champs twice in the same week. I don't know if they can do that. Very intriguing. And in fact, that's going to be our SFBN game of the week on Friday night. So we're going to be excited to cover that. Go ahead, Josh.
And, this year is a lot different for Archbishop Wood than it was last year.
Yes.
They had Colin Gillespie, along with the other Division I players on this team right now.
Right.
So having Gillespie on the squad last year obviously really helped them. But I think this is the time where John Moscow gets his kids into playoff mode, get them into gear. And I see Archbishop Wood running the table all the way up to the championship where they lose to Newman Goretti. I think Newman Goretti is just very athletic, and these two Newman Goretti and Wood met earlier in the year, and they only beat Wood by, I think, 2.
Yeah, you guys have it matched up in your Final Fours here, which will come up on the 21st. You both have it as Bonner Prendy and Archbishop Wood, and then Roman Catholic and Newman Goretti.
Yeah.
Where you differ here is in that championship. Ari, you've got it Bonner Prendy over Wood. Josh, you've got Wood over Prendy. And then you both have Newman Goretti. And you both have Newman Goretti taking it to the championship.
I just think in that Bonner Prendy Wood matchup, or even if it's Carroll as well, because it very well can be, especially if they host that game. But Bonner Prendy just has, when you talk about Division I talent, they now have it. They've got Isaiah Wong in the backcourt, another Jack Cap special. Ajiri Johnson up front. I think right now he is playing better than Seth Pinckney, and because of that, on a neutral court at the Palestra, I think Ajiri Johnson will shine bright, and he will dominate Pinckney down low, and that will be the difference in that game. But I think Newman Goretti ultimately gets revenge on the Friars for that early season loss, and Carl Aragil gets the PCL championship yet again.
Guys, it's time for our final segment of the night. We've got to step out of the PIAA. We're going to get into the PESA. This is the private schools in PA. They're not in the PIAA. Mostly made up of Interac, Friends League teams. You got a couple of private schools that are going to go in the mix here, but let's take a look at this bracket. Can anyone beat, and this is really the big question, can anyone beat Westtown? Westtown is just, I'd love to say, for my own personal beliefs, that, Springside Chestnut Hill Academy can absolutely take it, but I'm a teacher there, so I'm a little bit of a homer, I guess. I don't see that happening. No. Love you, Blue Devils. I don't see it. Westtown guys, they are just so dominant in this league.
They're dominant, they're big, and they have a McDonald's All-American in Cam Reddish, as well as Jake Forrester, Noah Collier. These guys are 6'7", 6'8", maybe 6'9". I think they're just going to overpower anyone that comes in their way. Now I think they could potentially meet Shipley in that second round. And these two schools played each other earlier in the year. I have to pull up the final result here, but I think that's going to be a very intriguing matchup with Sam Sessoms possibly leading his team to running the table. I don't think it'll happen against Westtown, but Ari, I think I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting matchup. And when you looked at Westtown last year, when they had Mo Bamba among some other players helping out Cam Reddish, there was just no way anybody was going to beat them. Right. This year, they might be a little more prime for an upset. You mentioned that potential Shipley matchup in the second round. A lot of familiarity. If Shipley gets some guys healthy, I don't know the status of that. I know they were hurt when we covered them against Perky Yeoman School, who's also in this bracket. That's going to be a tough matchup. I think they'll beat probably Malvern Prep, the winner of that Malvern Prep area. I've got them going on there. But you have to look at the bottom of this bracket. I like Haverford School and Perky Yeoman School to get to the semis. Now, I have Haverford beating Perky Yeoman, but Perky Yeoman is the team, Josh, that you saw and you covered their game against Shipley. They're big, they're athletic, they're seasoned, and they're a post-grad school, so a lot of them are older and more mature. Just that 1 year is such a big difference.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah. And when we watched them against Shipley, Shipley was without their center, I think Ray Somerville, 6'10" junior center, which obviously made a huge difference. But, yeah, Perk School just gets out, they run, they rebound, too. That's another thing I realized is that, and even though Shipley was undersized, Perk School just beat them on the boards, and I think they could easily do that against any of the teams that they face leading up to the championship
The
game.
Bottom line is I have Westtown winning. I think you do, too.
I do. I have Westtown, yeah.
But this year, unlike last year, I think they have a shot to be upset. I think Perky Yeoman or Haverford, not so much Shipley, Perky Yeoman or Haverford School, I think could take them down in the championship.
Wow. Comments keep coming in, and Bonnie's coming back at us once again. She's going to go back a little bit because we're in a little bit of a delay here. Imhotep Rolling says they're going to be very hard to defeat. Very balanced. Westtown, though, talking about where we're at now. Westtown, she says, unstoppable. Oof. Unstoppable.
I think they might be able to be stopped this year.
But you picked them to win.
I did, but I'm saying last year was a walk in the park.
No, this is what we call an easy out for Ari. It's
No.
when he says, this is who's going to win. But if they don't tell me I'm wrong.
What I'm saying is, let me clarify.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, Westtown will win the PIAA championship. But they had a walk in the park last year. Easy. Blue team's out. That's not going to be the case this year. Right. They're not as good as last year's team, and there's other teams that are better, like Perky Yeoman School in particular.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Guys, final thoughts? Final thoughts on the evening? Final thoughts at all?
This is honestly, this is probably the best time of the year. I love talking about the playoff brackets. It's much more fun, especially when you have it's the right time to look forward, especially when you're doing brackets like this.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I am pumped just talking about it.
Yeah, really absolutely. I'm sorry that I had to miss these last 2 weeks, but I think I made it back just in time.
Yes, you did.
I really did. I made it back just in time. Unfortunately, that is all the time that we have got here. We've got to wrap things up. Quick reminder to you. SFBN, the game of the week. We mentioned it earlier. It's coming up this Friday, February the 16th. If you mess up and you forget about Valentine's Day on the 14th, and suddenly you're like, oh my God, what do I do? Well, you spend a little bit of money, maybe go out, maybe watch it online. You got Wood versus Carroll. That's the PCL boys basketball quarterfinals. Guys, isn't that the best Valentine's Day gift ever? Right? Boys high school basketball. That's going to be quarterfinals. It's at 7 p.m. Have to say, guys, this was a great show. I really enjoyed this, talking playoffs. I know we're still in the early seeds for a lot of these, and for some we're still just getting brackets released, but it was a lot of fun being here live tonight, being able to watch this and witness this, listen to your picks. I'm really curious to watch over these next days and see how it goes. thank you so much to everybody for tuning in. This has been a great basketball season. We've got a little bit more to go. Clearly, so much to watch for right here on 3 in the Key. We're your place all season long, all playoff season long for boys basketball. We have so much left to talk about. Make sure that you check in each week, and don't forget to check out our website too, because there's great games, stats, so much excitement of playoff time. You saw it tonight with some great viewers, some great followers, especially with Bonnie out there. But make sure to comment during the show. Tell us who you'd like to hear about. Bonnie seemed to really be driven on some of those teams she wanted to hear about. But make sure that you're commenting live during the show. If you watched live, you saw we mentioned our comments right here. It's not just a ploy to get you to watch. We're going to talk about the things you want to talk about. So in the weeks ahead, as playoffs really heat up, that is not going to change as we go through all of high school boys basketball. But in addition to high school boys basketball, there is so much else that goes on here on the Sports Fan Base Network. Make sure you catch all the great content from the network. You've got On the Mat with Mark Tribble. That's Tuesdays at 7. Varsity Voice with Frankie Stokes. That's Wednesday at 7. You've got In the Paint talking girls basketball, girls high school basketball with Nikki Jones. That's Thursday at 7. As for us right here on 3 in the Key, again, make sure that with this episode and every episode, you like, share, post, love, comment, all of it. We need all your help as we go through Facebook and YouTube. But we're going to be back here every Monday night, and we're going to keep talking some great playoff basketball action. So stay tuned with us on Facebook Live. We're going to give you all the best that high school boys basketball has to offer. Recaps, analysis, predictions certain to go wrong. You can always catch up with 3 in the Key, though, by downloading the podcast. Take the audio version with you to go. Take it with you. You can get all those greatest episodes, download them. And hey, when you're checking out the podcast and you're in the iTunes store, please do us a huge favor. Give us that ever so important 5-star rating. It is so crucial and beneficial to us. So in the meantime, while you're doing all that with the YouTube and the Facebook Live and the commenting, and we know you've got spare time, go to www.thesfbn.com, the Sports Fan Base Network. Make sure you check out so much more high school action from not just basketball, but sports all across this season, past, present, and future. There is so much, even our game broadcast schedule. We have to thank our wonderful crew that has been helping us, our amazing interns, all led by Julian Bellman, the grand wizard of it all. But guys, thank you so much. I know Julian loves that. For Ari Bluestein, who was filling in for Jack Cap, for Bonnie Kappenstein, who commented, I felt like she was here with us on the show. Josh Abrams, I am Richie Blyweiss, reminding you, stay classy, be good to each other. Have a great night.